My beloved child, there are places you once called home, but over time they became cold rooms that slowly wore down your heart. There are things that once gave you a sense of familiarity, but no longer nourish the life within you. I do not blame you for having once leaned on them, nor do I rebuke you for the times you confused familiarity with peace. I am only gently calling you back, not back to a place made of brick and stone, but back to my embrace, where you are fully known, unconditionally loved, and healed without needing to hide your wounds. If today you choose to remain with me, not only through words spoken in a moment of emotion, but through every small decision of tomorrow, I will renew you from within. I will restore order to the thoughts that fear has tangled. I will open your eyes so you no longer see yourself through old accusations, failures, or shame, but through my compassionate gaze. You are one who has been found again, called by name, and prepared for a purposeful journey, not because of your own merit, but because of a love that went before every weakness of yours. I know that within you there is sometimes still a quiet call from the old path. It does not always appear like a violent storm. Many times it comes softly, sweetly, and cleverly. It tells you that just a little will not matter, that returning one more time will do no harm, that one small excuse is enough to calm your heart for a while. But my child, not everything that appears harmless is truly safe. There are cords that at first are as thin as silk, but if you allow them to wrap around your heart day after day, they will gradually tighten. There are steps away from the light that seem very small at first, but if you do not stop, they can carry you far from the place where I am waiting for you. I do not say this to make you afraid, but to awaken vigilance within you. Do not let one easy moment be traded for the peace I have purchased with such deep love. Do not let a passing temptation take away the freedom I am restoring in you. You once thought you could control everything by yourself. You believed you were wise enough to know where to stop, experienced enough to recognize danger, strong enough to walk near the edge of the cliff without falling. But I am your Father, and I know there are dark places that cannot be entered through self-confidence alone. Wisdom that is not built upon me becomes fragile like a house built on sand. It may look beautiful on a sunny day, but it will shake when strong winds rise. So learn from me even in the smallest things, a decision, a conversation, a place you intend to enter, a relationship you intend to keep, a thought you allow to remain too long in your heart. I do not lead you in order to take away your freedom. I lead you so your freedom will not be deceived. I do not walk before you to control every breath. I walk before you because I see the turns your eyes have not yet seen, the traps covered with outward beauty, the roads that could slowly draw you away from true life. Remember Lot, who chose the land that looked fertile before his eyes. From a natural point of view, that place seemed to promise advantage, prosperity, and safety. But the closer he moved toward it, the more the human heart became surrounded by things that dimmed purity. What first seemed only like a choice of where to live, slowly became a dangerous attachment. When the time came to leave, the steps became heavy, and the heart was pulled back by what was familiar, even though that familiarity was leading toward destruction. My child, I tell you this, not so you may judge those of old, but so you may recognize yourself in moments of hesitation. There are places you need to leave before your heart learns to love. What is wounding you? There are doors I close, not because I want to make you lose something, but because I want to keep you from a future that would bring you deeper pain. When I tell you to walk away, trust that it is mercy. When I tell you not to look back, trust that ahead of you is life that the past cannot give you. I know every crack you carry. I know there are questions you have never dared to speak because you feared others would not understand. I know the nights when you lie still while inside you it feels as though rain is falling without end. I know the times you feel unworthy to come near me, as though you must first fix yourself, cleanse yourself, and become strong before you are allowed to call me Father. But my beloved child, that is not my voice. I do not stand far away waiting for you to wash yourself clean before I open the door. I myself am the water that renews you. I myself am the source of grace that washes away what has clung to you through seasons of wandering. You do not need to enter my presence with a face decorated by false perfection. Come to me in truth. Come to me with your broken pieces, your weariness, your shame, and the things you cannot untangle on your own. My hand does not despise your tenderness. My hand is extended to lift you up. There are things you thought were written forever into the story of your life, like ink, that could never be erased. But in me, no darkness is greater than mercy. No mistake is stronger than redeeming love. No distance is so far that my call cannot reach it. When you return, I do not make you stand outside the courtyard to prove your repentance long enough. I run toward you with the love of a father who has waited a long time, clothing you again with dignity, restoring peace within you, and reminding you that your name has never been lost in my heart. People may remember you by your mistakes, but I remember you by the good purpose I placed upon you from the beginning. People may keep records of the times you fell, but I have the authority to rewrite the story by grace, making what was once defiled clean, what was once tangled straight, and what was once dry fresh again. Therefore, do not give the thought of turning back a place to dwell in your heart. Do not feed it with self-justifying words. Do not let it grow through secret conversations with yourself. When temptation knocks, run to me before you negotiate with it. When loneliness makes you want to seek a shortcut, call on me before you open the wrong door. When memory pulls you back toward old things, let me remind you that not everything familiar deserves to return. I have brought you out of places that once imprisoned you. Do not rebuild the cage with your own hands, simply because it looks familiar. I have opened a way for you to step into new life. Do not let one weak moment persuade you that the old chains are a safe place. Remain with me, my child. Remain when your heart is joyful, and remain when you do not feel anything clearly. Remain when the road is bright, and remain when you see only enough light for one step. Remain when others understand you, and remain when you are misunderstood. This remaining will become deep roots within you. Then from those deep roots, I will cause wisdom, peace, courage, purity, and joy that does not depend on circumstances to grow. I will teach you to recognize my voice among countless noises. I will help you distinguish between what excites you for a moment and what truly nourishes life within you. I will make you strong yet gentle, alert yet not suspicious of everything, loving yet not losing yourself. I do not send you forward alone. I do not merely hand you a map and watch from a distance. I walk with you through rough roads, through valleys few people want to enter, through seasons where you must learn to trust before you see the result. When you stumble, I lift you. When you are tired, I support you. When you wander, I call you. When you want to give up, I remind you why you began. Trust me more than the voice of fear. Trust me more than the attraction of the old things. Trust me more than your own calculations, trying to lead you by limited sight. I am your Father, and your home is in my presence. There is not only forgiveness, but restoration. Not only comfort, but transformation. Not only a call to return, but a new path opened ahead, full of light, full of hope, full of the life I have prepared for you, with love that never runs dry. My beloved child, I want your heart to rest in a truth that no noise of the world can fade. I do not look at you by the measure of achievement, nor do I weigh your worth by what you hold in your hands. You may stand before me with empty hands, with a journey no one has recognized, with days that seem to have nothing worth displaying. But if you still choose to walk in trust, I see a beauty that people often overlook. The world often admires dazzling strides, visible victories, and thrones raised amid applause. But I bend down to listen to the footsteps of the one who continues walking. When the road is empty, when the night is long, when no one knows how much weariness they have had to resist in order not to turn away from what is right. My child, what moves my heart is not that you have never felt weak, but that, after trembling, you still turn toward me. Not that you have never fallen, but that you still allow me to raise you up. Not that you always have the answers, but that you still choose to remain in my presence while every answer is still hidden. There are seasons when I allow you to walk without much evidence in your hands, not to confuse you, but so that the roots of your trust may grow deeper than the surface soil of temporary emotion. When every outward sign grows dim, you begin to recognize what is truly sustaining you. When the applause fades, you begin to know whether you are living for me or for the gaze of others. When familiar supports are taken out of reach, you discover that my arm has never left you. You once thought you were strong only when someone stood beside you, when you had affirmation, when there was a clear path before your eyes. But I am teaching you a holier strength. Strength in silence, strength in waiting, strength that remains gentle even when misunderstood, strength that stays faithful even before seeing the harvest. It is not a loud strength that forces others to notice. It is a quiet, hidden, enduring strength, nourished in the place where you and I meet and no one else sees. Remember Hannah, the woman who carried a deep longing within her heart and was misunderstood even in the place where she came to pray. She had no public praise, no visible assurance, no proof that would make others stop looking down on her pain. She had only a heart poured out before me, an honesty without decoration, a quiet cry that touched heaven. People could look at her tears and think she was weak, but I saw within her a precious perseverance. And when my time came, what was born from that waiting was not only her private joy, but also became part of the great flow of my purpose for my people. Do you see? My reward is often sown in the most hidden places. It does not always come in the form you expect. But when it comes, it carries the mark of faithfulness, making the years that seemed silent suddenly become full of meaning. So do not take lightly the secret room where you have wept with me. Do not underestimate the nights when you had no one to call, yet still whispered to me. Do not think your choked prayers have dissolved into emptiness. I have heard. I have kept them. I have taken notice. There are rewards that do not appear on a stage, are not attached to reputation, and are not called success by the world. Yet they are more precious than every crown that quickly decays. They are the peace that remains in you while circumstances have not yet changed. They are the quiet joy blooming in the dry season. They are the ability to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. They are the inner light that is not extinguished by a storm, not dimmed by criticism, and not lost in a season of being forgotten. They are the gentle confirmation in the deepest place that I know your name, I know the road. You walk in what you have endured. and I take delight in your faithfulness. The world may change its measuring rod every day. Today it lifts someone up. Tomorrow it turns away. Today it calls noise power. Tomorrow it calls arrogance courage. It often honors the one who knows how to attract attention, more than the one who knows how to keep the heart pure. It easily admires the outward garment, more than the endurance within. But my child, I am not carried away by those winds. I do not change my purpose, because the crowd changes its voice. I do not call what is false glory, simply because many people applaud it. I do not overlook quiet faithfulness just because it is not acknowledged on earth. The thrones people build can collapse in a single afternoon, but what I establish within you will stand through changing seasons. When I call you mine, no judgment can erase it. When I place my hand upon you, no rejection can cancel it. When I preserve you, no circumstance has the right to declare that you have been forgotten. My reward is not bound by money, position, reputation, or the voices of those who think they have the authority to decide your value. I do not give grace because you know how to impress, nor do I withhold kindness because you have not met the standards others have set. I give because I am faithful. I love you not after you have proven yourself worthy, but even while you are still learning to believe that you are loved. I do not wait for you to become perfect before calling you near. I call you near so that in my presence, what is crooked may be made straight, what is cracked may be healed, what is weary may be lifted, and what seemed extinguished may be lit again. You belong to me before you have anything to offer, and that belonging is the foundation for everything I will do in your life. Therefore, when you see that you have not yet been recognized, do not quickly think that you have no value. When you have not yet seen results, do not conclude that your obedience is useless. When others rise, through shortcuts, through noise, through the wisdom of this world, do not let your heart become envious or shaken. You are not called to compete with the world for the spotlight. You are called to carry a light that is not borrowed from human approval. That light comes from me. It burns when you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, humility instead of self-exaltation, faithfulness instead of giving up, truth instead of convenience, and me when there is nothing else left to hold on to. And my child, those choices may not make noise on earth, but they rise before me like a precious fragrance. I know there are times when you wonder whether I see. I know you have asked yourself whether your quiet sacrifices are counted. I know there are days when you feel you are behind others, forgotten in a small corner, while others seem to be lifted up easily. But I want you to understand that my timing is never late, and the way I reward is never shallow. I do not merely want to place something into your hands. I want to make the inside of you steady enough to keep it without losing purity. I do not only prepare blessing for you, I prepare you for the blessing, so that when it comes, it will not pull you away from me, but will lead you to know me more deeply. There are things that, if they came too early, would scatter you. But when they come at the right time, they become evidence of mercy. So continue walking, my child, even if today the road is still quiet. Continue sowing what is good, even before you see rain. Continue keeping your heart pure, even when the world mocks your tenderness. Continue choosing me, not because you always feel strong, but because you know I am always faithful. I do not forget your name in the crowd. I do not miss the tears you have hidden. I do not take lightly the times you rose again, when no one knew you had fallen. And when the reward I have prepared for you is revealed, you will understand that the most precious thing is not what others see in you, but what I have built within you through every hidden season. You belong to me. And because you belong to me, you do not need to chase after worth. You have already been placed in my love. You do not need to beg the world for validation. I have called you a seal of my affection. You do not need to fear being left behind. I am leading you with a steady hand, and the place I am leading you to will be full of peace, full of light, full of new life that no one can steal from you, my beloved child. There are times when you sit in a quiet room, looking back at what has happened and wondering why the road you have walked has had so many thorns. You have wished that everything had been gentler, that the people you loved had not left too soon, that the doors you desperately knocked on had not closed before you, that your heart had not had to learn so many lessons through tears. I heard those questions, even when you only whispered them in the night. I saw you trying to be strong, trying to understand, trying to believe, even though inside you there were silences no one could touch. But today, I want to bend close to you with the tenderness of a father and tell you that pain is not the final period in your story. There are pains that do not come to bury you, but like a sacred labor, they open the way for something new to be born in your life. Look at a tiny seed placed into the earth. If one only looks at the moment it is covered, they may think it has been forgotten in the darkness. It is no longer in the hand of the sower, no longer visible beneath the sun, no longer keeping its original form. But in that hidden place, life is being awakened. The old shell breaks open, not because it has been destroyed meaninglessly, but because the sprout within must be released. So it is with you. There are seasons when I allow you to enter a hidden place, where no one comforts you, where familiar things are broken, not so you may disappear, but so that what I have placed within you may have room to rise. If you hold forever to your old form, because you fear pain, you will not be able to enter the fruitfulness I have appointed. But when you allow me to soften the soil, break the shell, and lift the living sprout out of the darkness, you will understand that brokenness in my hands can still become the beginning of a harvest. I know it is not easy for you to accept this, while tears are still warm on your cheeks, while losses still leave echoes in your heart, while the absence of a person, a place, a dream, or an old season of life still leaves you stunned. But my child, no tear of yours falls without my knowing. No sigh rises from the depths without my hearing. No night you remain awake in confusion passes without my being near. What you thought were only traces of weakness, I am quietly turning into the material of maturity. I use tears to soften your heart from hardness. I use the times you are pushed to your limit to expand your endurance. I use unexpected turns to teach you that my guidance is not limited by the road you once imagined. There is a story you should remember. The story of Naomi, the woman who left her homeland during famine and returned with hands that seemed empty. She passed through grief, losing her husband, losing her sons, losing the pillars that once supported her life. When she returned to Bethlehem, she no longer identified herself by the name of Joy, because her heart had been soaked in the bitterness of broken years. If one looked only at that chapter, one might think her life had nothing left but ashes. But I did not end her story at the place of loss. I placed faithful Ruth beside her, quietly led their steps to the field of Boaz. And from that very stream that seemed to have been cut off, I wove a family line carrying a great mark within my eternal plan. Do you see, what you call returning empty-handed may be the very moment I am preparing for a fullness you cannot yet see. Emptiness is not always the absence of blessing. Sometimes it is the space I have cleared in order to place within it something deeper, more enduring, and more aligned with my purpose. Therefore, when you look at your life and see only scattered, dark fragments, do not quickly conclude that I have stopped painting. A great painting cannot be understood when your eyes are pressed too closely against a single brushstroke. When you look only at one part, you may see chaos. When you look only at one scratch, you may see ugliness. When you look only at one blank space, you may think it is useless. But I am the one who sees the whole. I know why there are bright places, why there are depths, why there are empty spaces, why there are colors you did not choose, and curves you do not understand. The things you call delays I can use as pauses. The things you call losses I can use as depth. The things you call silence I can use as a background so that my voice becomes clearer within you. One day, when you stand in a higher place of wisdom, you will look back and realize that nothing under my hand was wasted. My beloved child, do not reject the empty spaces I allow to appear in your life. Sometimes you lose a busyness, so you can learn to be still before me. Sometimes a relationship steps back, so you no longer seek validation from people. Sometimes an opportunity closes, so you do not enter a place that would wear you down. Sometimes an old dream must grow quiet, so I can awaken in you a purer vision. You often fear emptiness because you think it means lack, but I want you to see with new eyes. Emptiness can be the vessel I am preparing to fill. A quiet room can be the place where I heal. A closed door can be a fence of love. A delay can be mercy, protecting you from what has not yet reached its time. So do not tremble when I lead you through a quiet season. Do not panic when you no longer hear the familiar noise around you. Do not despair when what you once held tightly slips from your hands. Your fingers need to be freed in order to receive what I will place there later. Your heart needs to be widened so it can hold more love, more wisdom, more peace. Your vision needs to be lifted so you no longer measure life only by what is before your eyes, but learn to trust what I am quietly completing behind the veil. I never allow you to pass through deep waters without purpose. I never permit a painful chapter to appear in your life without being able to redeem it with my goodness. What I am teaching you is not only endurance, but knowing me more deeply. I want you to understand that I do not merely give answers. I myself am the place where you find rest when the answers have not yet come. I do not merely fill what is missing. I am the fullness every longing in you is searching for. When every outward voice becomes quiet, you will hear more clearly that I am still calling your name with love. When every temporary support shakes, you will discover that my arm never grows weary. When every path you once trusted becomes unclear, you will know that my presence is bright enough to lead you step by step, even when you cannot yet see the entire road. Therefore, be at peace. My child, let your questions rest in my mercy. Let your tears become streams that water new ground. Let old cracks become places where light passes through. I am creating within you a beauty that is not shallow, a strength that is not loud, a maturity that does not come from luck, but is born through the seasons when you still chose to trust, even while your heart trembled. You are not being left behind in pain. You are being led through it. You are not being lost in the empty space. You are being prepared to contain fullness. And when the time comes, you will see that what I am doing not only heals what was broken, but also opens within you a new life, deeper, wider, purer, and more enduring than anything you have ever known. My beloved child, when I complete what I have begun, there will be people who no longer recognize you, not because you have become a stranger, but because you no longer live under the old image they were used to controlling, judging, or looking down upon. They may be surprised by your peace. They may be confused by your steadiness. They may not understand why you no longer react as before, no longer chase approval as before, no longer fear losing the things that once bound you. But do not go back merely to make them comfortable. I have not called you to live smaller so you can fit into the frame others have built. Nor have I called you to walk in order to be applauded. I have called you to become light where light is needed, to become a voice of hope where many have grown weary, to become a sign of healing where hearts are quietly cracking. Even if you must enter a season where fewer people understand you, you are still not without companionship. I am with you in the quiet room. I am with you when you make a decision no one applauds. I am with you when you choose forgiveness, but do not allow yourself to be pulled back into the old cycle of pain. I am with you when you learn to say no to what drains you and yes to what nourishes life within you. You do not need to prove that you are worthy of what I am doing. You only need to trust, obey, and allow me to continue leading you through each layer of transformation. One day you will look back and understand that the fire did not come to destroy you. Solitude did not come to abandon you, and closed doors did not come to punish you. I used all of it to bring you closer to the true self I have loved from the beginning. So stand upright in peace, my child. Let your heart stop trembling before the opinions of others. Let your hands release. What I have told you no longer belongs to the road ahead. Let the light I have placed within you burn quietly but steadily, without needing to show off, without needing to compete, without needing to ask darkness for permission to shine. When you step into your rightful place, even if you think you are alone, heaven is still covering you with gentle care. I have begun this work in you, and I will not abandon it halfway. What I build will stand firm. What I heal will bear fruit. What I call by name will step forth at the appointed time. Rest in my hands, for I am making something new, pure, deep, and more radiant than anything you have ever asked for or imagined.